Welcome to Streaming News Network by Claude McDaniel. Please like and subscribe.
This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. Recently, remarks from Donald Trump are drawing attention after he shared his views on cognitive testing for presidential candidates. In a recent statement, the former president argued that anyone seeking the office of president or vice president should be required to undergo a cognitive examination before entering the race. He suggested that such testing would provide voters with greater confidence in the mental fitness of candidates and could influence election outcomes. Mr. Trump also referenced his own experience, saying he completed cognitive exams 3 times during his time in office and stated that he achieved top results on each occasion. He described this as a notable accomplishment, claiming that such performance is uncommon. In addition, the former president criticized past political opponents, including former presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden, while reiterating his belief that mandatory testing would improve the country's leadership standards. The proposal has not been formally introduced as policy, but it adds to ongoing national conversations about age, health, and transparency among candidates seeking the highest offices in the United States. This is Streaming News Network. A major development in U.S. energy policy as Donald Trump has approved a new oil pipeline project connecting Canada to the United States. The project, known as the Bridger Pipeline Expansion and sometimes referred to as Keystone Light, would transport up to 550,000 barrels of oil per day from Canada through the states of Montana and Wyoming, eventually linking to existing pipeline infrastructure. At approximately 650 miles in length, the pipeline would carry about 2/3 the capacity of the previously proposed Keystone XL project, which was canceled in 2021 by Joe Biden over climate concerns. Despite the federal approval, the project still faces additional environmental reviews at both the state and national levels. Environmental groups have already voiced opposition, citing risks of potential spills and broader concerns about fossil fuel expansion. Supporters, however, point out that much of the pipeline would be constructed along existing routes and largely on private land, potentially reducing its environmental footprint. Unlike the Keystone XL project, this route would not cross Native American reservations. The pipeline is expected to carry various forms of crude oil, with the option to transport other petroleum products such as gasoline and diesel in the future. If all approvals are secured, construction could begin in the fall of 2027, with completion projected by late 2028 or early 2029. This is Streaming News Network. A major agriculture and food policy bill has passed the House of Representatives following days of political division. Lawmakers approved the Farm, Food, and National Security Act of 2026 in a 224-200 vote, with more than a dozen Democrats joining Republicans to secure its passage. The legislation, commonly known as the Farm Bill, is designed to support American farmers, stabilize agricultural markets, and address national food concerns. However, it faced sharp debate over several provisions, including pesticide regulations and food assistance programs. 14 Democrats broke with their party to vote in favor of the bill, including Henry Cuellar, who said the measure provides long-awaited certainty for farmers and ranchers. Meanwhile, 3 Republicans voted against it. The bill advanced only after lawmakers removed a controversial provision that would have limited certain lawsuits against pesticide manufacturers, an issue strongly opposed by health-focused advocacy groups. Additional disputes over ethanol fuel policy also led to last-minute changes, with that issue expected to be addressed separately. Supporters, including the American Farm Bureau Federation, praised the bill as a long-overdue step forward after years of delays, citing rising fuel and fertilizer costs impacting farmers. But critics, including Angie Craig, argue the bill falls short, saying it does little to address economic challenges facing family farms and maintains cuts to food assistance programs for low-income Americans. The legislation now moves to the Senate, where further debate is expected. This is Streaming News Network. A sudden bankruptcy filing has left customers and retailers scrambling, as kitchen design company Wren Kitchens has shut down all of its United States operations. The company filed for Chapter 7 liquidation on April 24, closing all 15 of its showroom locations across the East Coast with little warning. The move also ends its in-store partnership with Home Depot, where Wren had recently opened kitchen design studios inside select stores. Home Depot officials say they were not given advance notice of the closures and are now assessing how the sudden shutdown may impact customers. The bankruptcy comes as the home improvement sector faces mounting pressure from a cooling housing market and more cautious consumer spending. For customers, the abrupt closure is raising concerns about pending orders, deposits, and product warranties. Some report being unable to reach the company, even after paying for kitchen installations or receiving recent deliveries. With limited communication channels still active, affected customers are being advised to attempt contact directly through Wren's website while retailers evaluate next steps. This is Streaming News Network. A violent incident at a Kentucky thrift store has left 2 people injured and a suspect in custody. Authorities say 30-year-old Madison Hinchy was arrested on April 21 following an alleged attack inside a Goodwill store in Murray. According to police, officers responded to reports of a disturbance and found 2 victims at the scene. One individual suffered a stab wound and was airlifted to a regional medical facility for treatment. A second victim was reportedly assaulted with a shovel. Investigators say the suspect allegedly chased and attacked both a fellow shopper and a store employee. When officers arrived, employees were attempting to restrain the suspect. Hinchy has been charged with attempted murder, second-degree assault, and fourth-degree assault involving minor injury. She is currently being held at the Callaway County Jail. Authorities have not yet released further details on a possible motive, and the investigation remains ongoing. This is Streaming News Network. Late-night television host Jimmy Kimmel is facing backlash following controversial remarks about First Lady Melania Trump. The comments, which aired during a recent broadcast, have sparked a wave of reaction online, with critics accusing Kimmel of crossing the line from comedy into personal attack. Some viewers described the remarks as inappropriate and divisive, arguing that public figures should exercise greater restraint when addressing political leaders and their families. Others, however, have defended the host, pointing to freedom of speech and the long-standing tradition of political satire in late-night television. Supporters argue that commentary and criticism, especially involving public officials, remain a protected and expected part of American media. The debate highlights ongoing tensions over the role of comedians in political discourse, with some comparing today's tone to that of past hosts such as David Letterman, Jay Leno, and Johnny Carson. As reaction continues to unfold, the controversy underscores broader questions about the limits of humor, public criticism, and civility in today's media landscape. This is Streaming News Network. Reality television personality Kylie Jenner is facing a new lawsuit involving allegations of workplace harassment and labor violations. According to court filings in Los Angeles County Superior Court, a former housekeeper, Juana Delgado Soto, claims she experienced harassment, discrimination, and improper working conditions while employed by Jenner beginning in 2019. The lawsuit outlines multiple allegations, including failure to provide required meal and rest breaks, as well as claims that a supervisor mocked the employee's accent and immigration status. Soto says she reported the behavior, but alleges the supervisor later returned and retaliated by reducing her hours, assigning unfavorable duties, and altering her schedule. In one incident described in the filing, Soto claims she was told her birthday was unimportant compared to an event involving Jenner and was threatened with termination if she did not stay late. The complaint also alleges that Soto was discouraged from any direct interaction with Jenner, including being told to avoid eye contact or acknowledgement. Soto resigned in August of 2025, citing severe anxiety related to her work environment. This marks at least the second lawsuit filed against Jenner in recent weeks, as another former employee has also raised allegations of harassment at her California residence. Representatives for Jenner have not publicly responded to the claims. The case remains ongoing. This is Streaming News Network. A violent courtroom incident in Texas has led to new charges against a convicted murderer after he allegedly attacked his own attorney moments after sentencing. Authorities say Jaquarius Lewis struck his court-appointed lawyer, John Petruzzi, in the face after being sentenced to 50 years in prison for a 2024 murder case. According to reports, the attack occurred immediately after the sentence was handed down. Petruzzi later said he has little memory of the incident beyond hearing the sentencing, explaining that he lost consciousness after being hit. Witnesses say he fell backward, striking his head before collapsing to the floor. Petruzzi, a veteran defense attorney with decades of experience representing murder defendants, said he had never previously been assaulted by a client. Court records show Lewis had earlier requested that Petruzzi be removed from the case, though the reason remains unclear. He later pleaded guilty to murder and waived his right to a jury trial, facing a sentence ranging from 5 to 50 years. Petruzzi did not suffer serious injuries. Prosecutors are now seeking to set Lewis's bond at $100 million in connection with the courtroom attack. The cause of death has been confirmed for actor Patrick Muldoon, who passed away at the age of 57. According to official records, Muldoon died on April 19 from a myocardial infarction, commonly known as a heart attack. Contributing factors included a hereditary blood clotting disorder and a pulmonary embolism, a condition in which a blood clot travels to the lungs. Muldoon was widely recognized for his roles on daytime and primetime television, including Days of Our Lives and Melrose Place, where he built a strong fan following over the course of his career. A Los Angeles native, Muldoon began his career as a model before transitioning into acting in the 1980s. He went on to appear in a number of television series and films, establishing himself as a familiar face in Hollywood. At the time of his death, Muldoon had been involved in several upcoming projects, including film roles that are expected to be released posthumously. He was cremated on April 28. This has been a report by Claude McDaniel of Streaming News Network.
Thank you for listening to Streaming News Network videos and shorts. Please like and subscribe to our news channel.